In cycling, every generation brings a new hero. But every hero, no matter how dominant, eventually meets his challenger. For years, Tadej Pogačar has redefined what it means to be great. The Slovenian prodigy, the unstoppable force, the champion who makes suffering look effortless. Yet in 2025, a new name began to echo through the peloton. Paul Seixas, a 19-year-old Frenchman, riding for decathlon AG2R Le Mondial, stunned the cycling world with a fearless ride at Il Lombardia, one of the sport's toughest and most prestigious monuments. And after finishing an unbelievable 7th place, the teenager made a statement that sent shockwaves through the cycling community. He wants to beat Tadej Pogačar, not when he's old, not when he's tired, but when he's at his best. The story of Paul Seixas begins far from the bright lights of Paris or the grand stages of the Tour de France. Born in France, Seixas grew up idolizing the legends of cycling. Like many kids, he rode his bike through narrow village roads, dreaming of the Alps, the Pyrenees, and the monuments of Italy. But unlike most, his dream didn't fade. It sharpened, it hardened into purpose. From the beginning, Seixas was different, not just in talent, but in mindset. While most riders his age focused on junior results, Paul focused on building endurance, technique, and understanding the deeper art of racing. He studied the greats, Merckx, Hinault, Contador, but none fascinated him more than one man, Tadej Pogačar. To Seixas, Pogačar wasn't just a cyclist. He was the blueprint of perfection, a rider who could win anything. Classics, Grand Tours, time trials, mountain stages, and still smile while doing it. Pogačar is one of the most complete riders out there, Seixas said in an interview with Eurosport France. In everything he does, in every race he takes part in, he's always ready to win. No matter the profile or the type of effort, between 2 minutes and an hour, he's the strongest. It's pretty crazy. For a 19-year-old, those words weren't spoken with fear. They were spoken with admiration and quiet determination. When Seixas lined up for Il Lombardia, the final monument of the year, he wasn't expected to make headlines. The race, known as the Race of the Falling Leaves, is a brutal 238-kilometer test across northern Italy's punishing climbs and technical descents. It's a race of legends, one that demands not just power, but patience, experience, and courage. For 5 consecutive years, Tadej Pogačar had dominated it. No one could touch him. He was the king of Bergamo, the artist of the mountains, painting each victory with surgical precision. So when the peloton rolled out that morning, everyone expected another Pogačar masterclass. Few even noticed the teenager from AG2R Decathlon quietly sitting near the back of the group. Calm, expressionless, ready to learn. But by the time the race hit the final climbs, everyone knew who he was. Paul Seixas rode beyond his years. While seasoned veterans began to fade, he stayed in the front group. Steady, composed, and fearless. He wasn't intimidated by the legends around him. He was inspired by them. With every climb, he pushed harder. With every descent, he fought to stay in contact. And when the dust settled, the 19-year-old Frenchman finished 7th, making him the youngest rider to make a top 10 in a men's monument since 1917, when Luigi Cuppi finished 4th at Milan-San Remo at the age of 18. That statistic alone is staggering. Over a century had passed since a teenager had performed like that at such a high level. Cycling fans and journalists immediately turned their attention to him. Who was this kid? Where did he come from? And what did he just do? When the microphones turned toward him, his answer wasn't about celebration or surprise. It was about ambition. Beating Pogačar fair and square won't happen right away, he admitted. We know his best performances. We're going to train to try to beat him. That's what sport is all about. Those words hit hard, not because they were arrogant, but because they were real. This wasn't a cocky teenager. This was a rider with vision, grounded in respect. Pogačar is an inspiration, he continued. That's how you become well-rounded and win overall classifications. We try to understand how he does it. You could hear the admiration in his voice, but beneath it, there was something else. A spark, the kind of spark that drives generations forward. In sports, there are always moments when the torch begins to shift. Slowly, quietly, almost imperceptibly. This might be one of them. Because while Tadej Pogačar continues to rule the peloton, Young riders like Seixas are studying him, learning, adapting, evolving. They're not scared of him. They're inspired by him. There have been dominant figures in all sports, Seixas said, and we need to learn from that and be inspired by it. That's the best thing to do. This year he was a cut above the rest. He paused, then added something that perfectly captures his mindset. The goal isn't to beat him when he's on the decline, but when he's at his best. Think about that. A teenager who doesn't want shortcuts. He wants the real thing. To challenge the greatest rider in the world, head-to-head, in his prime. Seixas understands the long road ahead. He knows that greatness doesn't come overnight. It seems far away to me, he said. There are so many hurdles to overcome to reach that level. I prefer to take a step back and tell myself I still have time to improve. That humility, combined with drive, is what separates talents from future champions. He doesn't just want to be like Pogačar. He wants to understand him, to decode what makes him so relentless. How does Pogačar stay so consistent across every race? How does he recover? How does he balance power, patience, and passion? Those are the questions Seixas asks. Not how to beat him by luck, but how to rise to his level. Behind that mindset is his team, Decathlon AG2R La Mondiale, one of France's most historic and respected squads. Known for nurturing young riders, AG2R has been rebuilding its identity around fresh, hungry talents like Seixas. For them, his success at Il Lombardia wasn't a fluke. It was a glimpse into the future. Team director Julian Jurdy called his performance beyond his years. He said, "Paul rides with intelligence. He listens, he analyzes, and he doesn't panic. That's what champions do. It's that calm intelligence that makes Seixas so intriguing. He doesn't attack blindly. He studies the race. He understands that timing is everything, especially when chasing someone like Pogačar, who turns every opportunity into gold. But even prodigies have weaknesses to confront. After his 7th place finish, Seixas was brutally honest about where he fell short. In the end, maybe it was the distance and the high pace, he said. I got caught out a bit on a descent. Positioning was hard, and the effort I had to put in to get back probably cost me a bit." Those are the words of a student of the sport. Someone already dissecting his mistakes, not celebrating his achievements. He knows that to beat riders like Pogačar, even small errors can cost everything. And that's what makes him dangerous. His ability to learn fast. At 19, Seixas is entering an era of cycling defined by versatility. Pogačar has proven that the modern champion can win anything, from the cobbles of Flanders to the mountains of the Alps. If Seixas wants to beat him, he'll need to become that kind of rider too. Adaptable, complete, and relentless. He's already shown promise. His climbing ability is elite. His endurance is impressive. But it's his mindset, that rare balance of humility and hunger, that could one day make him a true contender. The story of Paul Seixas is still being written. Right now, he's the underdog, the wide-eyed teenager looking up at a mountain of greatness. But every legend starts that way. Just like Pogačar once looked up to Chris Froome, just like Froome looked up to Contador, and just like Contador once dreamed of beating Armstrong. History moves in cycles, and maybe, just maybe, Seixas will be the next one to rise. For Pogačar, hearing that a teenager wants to beat him probably brings a smile. Because for champions like him, rivals are motivation. They keep the fire burning, and if anything, Pogačar will see Seixas' ambition as the greatest compliment possible. Because only the best inspire others to dream that big. What makes this story special isn't rivalry, it's respect. Seixas doesn't hate Pogačar, he admires him. He's not chasing revenge, he's chasing inspiration. He's the young challenger who sees greatness, and instead of being intimidated, he says, "Why not me?" That's the kind of attitude that builds legends. So, will Paul Seixas ever beat Tadej Pogačar? No one knows. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But the beauty of sport lies in that uncertainty. What we do know is that Seixas has the talent, the mindset, and the courage to try. And in cycling, that's where greatness begins. Because to dream of beating the best, you first have to believe you belong on the same road, and this 19-year-old already does. In years to come, we might look back at this moment, the teenager finishing 7th at Il Lombardia. and realize it was the beginning of something much bigger. The start of a new chapter in cycling's ongoing story of rivalry, respect, and rebirth. Paul Seixas isn't the next Pogacar. He's the first Paul Seixas, and that might be the most exciting part of all.